Please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott,
Present.
Commissioner Baker McCormick, Commissioner Marecki, Commissioner Kinlock,
Present.
Commissioner Anderson, Vice Chair Baydoun,
Here.
Chair Varga.
Here,
You have a quorum present.
thank you. I have no remarks today. Next item.
Item C, approval of the minutes from the September 8th, 2022 meeting.
So moved.
Been moved and supported. Any corrections? I hear none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item D, unfinished business. There is none listed. Moving to item E1 of new business, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-265, certifying revenue in the county health fund.
Move approval.
What we're going to
motion
do
together.
is, we're going to wait until we do the entire agenda, and then we'll have one motion. But before we start discussion on item 1, I would like to call on Mr. Mark Abbo to kind of give us a little bit of purview of what we're going to be doing for the rest of the meeting today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know it's hard to believe, but today is September 20th, and 10 days from now is the county's fiscal year end. What most organizations, including Wayne County, what they do before year end is a lot of planning. The balance sheet is a snapshot in time, shows our assets and liabilities and fund balance as of that date. The statement of revenue and expenditures covers the entire year. And so what we're seeing right now through the 20 agenda items that we have is effectively just planning for our year end. You'll notice a lot of certifying revenue, small, minor budget adjustments. What they're trying to do is get it right, because our annual comprehensive financial report has reports on budget versus actual. We want to make sure that that looks good. It's actually one of the reasons why our budget rating continues to increase, because a lot of time has been spent lately in making sure that the annual comprehensive financial report looks the way it's supposed to at the end of the year. So there's a lot of planning that goes into it, and it's all done in knowledge and coordination and discussion with our auditors, Plant and Moran. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We'll go through each item individually, and then we'll vote at the end. Item number 1, any discussion on item 1? Please read in item 2, Madam Clerk.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-275, certifying revenue in the American Rescue Plan Fund.
Thank you. And just for the audience, we all received this way in advance, so all of us committee members have read these and studied them. So if we don't have many discussions on these items, that's because we've already done our homework in advance. Any questions on item 2 from committee members? Please read in item 3.
Item 3, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-220, reallocating expenditures in the Juvenile Justice Abuse Neglect Fund and certifying revenue in the general fund.
Thank you. Any discussion on item 3? Item 4, please.
Item 4, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-187, certifying revenue in the general fund.
Thank you. Any discussion on that?
This Stop Violence Against Women grant, I know it indicates travel, but I just wanted to know a little bit about the grant or the Stop Violence Against Women. Anyone from the administration?
It's from the prosecutor's office, but if the administration wants to take a jab at it, I'm good with that.
Jake Brower, Deputy Budget Director. More or less, I defer to the department, the prosecutor's office on this item. The requested question, it relates to the travel expense. We can talk to the prosecutor's office and have them, if there's no one available on Zoom.
Well,
provide it.
this was more it really didn't have to do with the expense. It was more about the initiative, the Stop Violence Against Women.
Yes,
So just wanted to know
I
if you
believe
had any
my,
background on that.
yeah, my limited understanding of the program, which is very surface level, is this is to prevent or respond to domestic violence. And so these are grant funds to help in initiatives to respond to that.
Thank you. For the audience who may be listening, usually we deal with the dollar amounts here in this committee, and other committees deal with the projects themselves. So if we don't have the answer for the projects, how they're doing, it's only because we deal with them in different committees. This particular committee deals with the dollar amounts, allocating it to different projects. And so that's why we don't always have the answers for those. Any other questions on item 4? Thank you. Next item.
Item 5, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-212, certifying revenue in the general fund.
Thank you. Any questions on item 5? I'd like the record to show that we've been joined by Commissioner Hattis, who is not part of our committee, but has joined us. Thank you for attending. Next item.
Item 6, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-290, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item? Next item, please.
Item 7, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-260, reallocating expenditures in the general fund and in the drug enforcement fund.
Thank you. Any discussion on item 7? Next item, please.
Item 8, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-258, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Thank you. As Mark said, these are very small amounts, $17,000 amount for this particular one. Any discussion? Next item, please.
Item 9, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-259, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Thank you. Any discussion on item 9? Next item, please.
Item 10, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-289, reallocating expenditures in the drug enforcement program fund.
Discussion? Next item, please.
Item 11, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-264, reallocating expenditures in the county health fund.
Please.
Item 12, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-287, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Thank you. I'm going to pause for a moment here. Item 12. We do have Dwayne Seals with us from the clerk's office. I want to give him an opportunity to thank us for moving to Monroe.
Good morning. How you doing? Chair Parga, how you doing this morning?
I'm great.
I do want to thank this honorable body here for actually moving this for us. As you know, we're actually moving the 400 Monroe. We're moving our vitals. I do want to answer Commissioner Kinlock. He asked me a question. Elections are staying at KMAC and the VIC building. So we are moving. We're actually moving all our vitals. That means when you come for a birth certificate or death certificate, it's all in one building. So We did not know at the time that we thought that the administration was going to pay the portion. It's a $380,000 move. We're going to use $200,000 out of the building improvement fund. Fortunately, we had $180,000 worth of savings in this year. So we were trying to pay our share right now. So we don't want to thank you. However, we do have a little small problem I want to apprise you of that will probably be coming before you shortly. And that is the furniture. For some reason, the furniture was not included in the budget for that. So we're trying to find some savings, but at this point, we do not have any funds for furniture for that new build out.
Salvation Army?
We're looking at anything you have, we're looking.
Just kidding. What's the amount of that?
Well, I've seen a couple quotes so far between $200,000 and $260,000. So we're trying to narrow it down and see exactly what we can work with, live with, and go from there.
I'm sure you're working with the administration on that particular.
Yes, we spoke with them. We spoke with them too about this as well. They pretty much have kind of leaned towards that. For the commission. Come before the commission, they said. So.
Well, we would have to find some dollars, and so that's something that we're going to have to work with the administration on, because the commission doesn't have it either. It's not in our budget. Commissioner Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dwayne, this furniture, are these for new positions that are going to be taking, have been in that location?
No, Commissioner Anderson, no, this is not for new individuals. These are the individuals that will be moving from KMAC. As you know, at KMAC, if you've been over there and looked at our furniture now, we feel that when we try to attempt to move that furniture to Fort Monroe, it'll probably break apart. It's been almost deemed as not usable. So there's no way. And then the setup's a little different too, so.
So it's not usable.
No, we're going to try to bring as much as possible, but pretty much, I mean, we have books holding some things up over there, though. Cabinets we can't get into, so.
Madam Chair, I one of the things that I'm just surprised at that we don't get as far as the landlord to help with renovations, because to make the facility or the new floors and new rooms that are going to be rented, we're going to be paying lease rates there for who knows how long. But anyway, I think that's something we ought to keep an eye on down the road, that the administration should be trying to negotiate a partial sharing of that cost.
Once upon a time, there was a storage facility, and that was about the time when we moved into this particular building where we had excess furniture. I'm not sure if we still have that or not, but it's worth looking into because I'm sure that the clerk is just as interested in saving as many dollars as possible through the move as we are. And the reason I'm laughing about the Salvation Army, if you go up in my office, some of the end tables did come from the Salvation Army for $10. And so I'm leaving that for my person who's following me. So I'm only preaching what I practice. Commissioner Baydoun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Seals, for taking our calls, the commissioners, when we call you, when we have concerns and requests from residents to come to the clerk's office. I know you're understaffed and you're doing everything you can. I just wanted to thank you publicly for everything that you have done.
Thank you, Commissioner Baydoun. Of course, you know that I'm only able to do what the clerk allows me to do. So I've usually when you give me a call, I always inform her and she makes sure that I can take care of your request as much as we can.
Commissioner Kinloch and then Commissioner Maraki.
Yes, I know that you're here and you just mentioned the furniture. but I know that there is a serious crisis that both the clerk has consistently been sending us emails and contacting the commission and the executive administration regarding the vacancies in those court clerk positions, to the point that from what I'm hearing from judges, that it's at a crisis mode right now, that you have creative conversations both between the clerk directly and the Third Circuit Court regarding not having clerks to participate in judicial proceedings. And so it's it's coming to a point that is coming to a head, and wanted to know when and what actions will actually be brought, because I understand as of today, it is actually a crisis mode.
Here, Commissioner Kinlock, you're exactly right. We are past crisis mode at this point. They are now canceling courts, dockets. We're down 20, from understand, just in the courtrooms, 20 court clerks. So what happens is that we have court clerks now trying to do two dockets. Judges have suggested they try to run two courts at the same time. We've looked at having our managers, supervisors actually run in the courtroom. And we've talked with the judges, had a meeting with the chief judge yesterday, looking for ways that we can actually try to correct or at least put a Band-Aid on this situation. I know the clerk is actually requesting a meeting with the CEO. I'm still waiting for him to respond to that request. But I know she's planning on coming before this board as well to talk to even at Ways and Means as well as GovOps on this situation. And the issue is simple. We get court clerks in. A person right across the street in 36th district is making $4,000 and $5,000 more. They leave. Just that simple. They see what the situation is. They come in. We explain to them of the health benefits they have to pay for, the parking they have to pay for. And when a clerk is only making $38,000 a year, you start taking out that deductible for a high pension plan. So the premium they have to pay on top of that. So you're looking at $4,000 or $5,000 they have to pay out of their pockets if they get sick or their loved ones get sick. They have to pay for parking. It's just not feasible. I've had individual was working at literally working at just a restaurant. And I talked to her and asked her, would she like to come and work for the court's office? I told her how much we were paying, and said, no, I make more money sitting people in chairs. So we have actually started a study looking at different courts around an area. Wayne County is the lowest paid their court clerks. I think we checked Wayne County, Genesee County, Macomb County, Oakland County, and our workload for a court clerk is almost twice as much as any other court clerk in the area. So yes, we will be bringing that to your attention, and thank you for actually bringing that up to us. It is a serious crisis. As we speak today, there's courtrooms are not going on because of that. That creates a problem because obviously that person is not getting their due process. That person is staying in court, in jail. It costs us, what, $160 a day? That person's to sit there. So there's a lot of extra costs that are coming up because we are not having enough court clerks.
I just wanted to let you know it's the chair's prerogative to go into this discussion. So even though we're on the other item, am I breaking the rules very much? Okay. But I think it's very important. There will be a subcommittee starting up in October, and we will be addressing that issue. How much do you think that the across the street clerks make more than your clerks?
I just did a analysis. I'm trying to think, do I have it on my email? I know our court clerks at $38,000 in 4 years. So there's no increases for 4 years. They go to $40,000. And then in another 4 years, I think they hit $42,000. At 36th District Court, they start off at $40,000. Then they get a raise every single year. In fact, they max out, I think it's around 54 or 55,000. So we're probably just starting out we're probably $4,000, $5,000 less than most individuals in the area.
And the clerks that is affecting is in what bargaining unit? If you know?
I think is that ASME? I think that's
AFSCME?
AFSCME, isn't it AFSCME? I think it's AFSCME.
I think so too. I know that while I'm still here, we're gonna, since I'm retiring in December, I'm still very involved in trying to make things right for the people who need to have higher wages. And so is the hourly rate the most important things to the people who don't want to stick around, in your opinion?
I would think so. I mean, obviously when we hear that, the parking is also a huge issue. We've looked at trying to work out some type of remote. Obviously, it's kind of hard because usually if there's a court clerk has to be there. So it's kind of hard to do a remote setup. But the clerk has looked at every single avenue. Probably, I think probably a third of our day is talking about what can we do to help or relieve the situation we have with the court clerks.
Okay, help is on the way. We're really going to try very hard. And I know the administration is very committed to doing whatever we have to for new hirees and for retention as well. And we do have to work within the bargaining units with them in order to make all of this happen. So it's more complicated than most people would realize that it is, but we are going to try to work through that. Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple things. How long is it going to take for this move to Monroe?
They're building now. We are hoping that they'll be done before the end of this year.
Okay, so how does the administration think you can't have furniture when you move in there?
You know what? That is a question that's come up, and that's why we're come before actually your committee. I'm asking to get on your committee as soon as possible with the clerk so we can talk about that because
Yeah,
we're very concerned about that.
yeah, I mean, just having a blank room after this big move, I mean, that makes no sense. So just so we all know, the CPLs will be going over there as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, just because we get a lot of questions on that. And then during budget, I think it was during budget hearings, someone had suggestion was to look at retired clerks, like temporarily coming in. Has that been looked into until this gets settled? Because like Commissioner Kinloch said, I've had judges taking me out to talk to me about this. They're very, very concerned about it.
We have looked at it, every opportunity or option that we have out there. The issue with retired clerks is, of course, they only can work a certain amount of time period coming back to work. And then you have to get around the whole union and also getting through personnel. I mean, obviously, they're short staffed as well. So we send our employees, we send individuals over to personnel. Sometimes it takes 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks before we even see them back to the clerk office. So we understand everyone's short staffed, but yes, it is an issue and that's something we are looking at.
Yeah, and you know what? I get it with the bargaining units, but this is affecting
Yes.
people's lives and people need to look at things outside of their box. It could be a temporary thing, but like you said, there are people waiting to have their justice whole
Exactly.
process to do this. And it's pretty, if that's just a bargaining unit thing, that's pretty sad. I mean, people have to look at this outside for a while until we get back on track.
Sure, I do want to mention that one of the biggest problems we have with retired clerks, usually they retire at the top of the scale. So when they come back, what happens is they have to go back at the beginning of the scale. So now a retired person comes with all these skills and experience, and that's another issue the clerk will be bringing up at your committee as well. We need to do something about that because a person that's been here for 25, 30 years, then they come back to help out and they're ready to jump in and start working. But yet now they're making $17 an hour.
Right, and that's part of the bargaining unit.
Right, that
problem,
is the
right?
issue. So,
So,
and I would probably, that's probably number one. The individuals who've actually said they will come back, first thing they ask, well, which rate do I come back at? We explained to them and they would say, well, wait a minute. I mean, I got to come down there and pay for parking and I'm only gonna get $17 an hour. I'm gonna pass on that. So,
right, and this again could be a temporary fix until we start raising the salaries and then they
Exactly.
can leave, but yeah, all right, thank you.
Alicia, the 1 second, the 1,000 hour rule for the retirees to come back, does the bargaining unit dictates at what rate they come back?
No.
I think that's probably more of a complicated question. I'm not sure if these individuals are coming back as employees or they're coming back as contractors to fall under the bargaining unit. The 1,000-hour rule is a state law, so that is not controlled by the unions with regards to the rate of pay. I don't know if there's a provision in any bargaining unit that says if you bring back retirees, they must be at a certain pay, or if they're just strictly contractual, and then that's up to the department that's hiring them. I'm just not familiar enough with the provisions of the bargaining unit to answer that question at this time.
Okay, I know when we did it in the sheriff's department, it was contractual and they came back at what the sheriff could afford to pay them, as opposed to what the union dictated on the wages.
Chair Barker, one of the things that we will be bringing to you is this particular question right here. What can we do to help these individuals to come back? Right now, we are told that it's not in the union contract, but they're afraid of I guess there's a Me Too clause that if we bring one person back at this rate, then everyone else will demand that too. So again,
During an
that's something.
emergency, I think we all need to put our heads together and we all have to do our share to be able to give the service that our constituents deserve. So if I'm going to be hardcore on this, I would like to wager on the side that emergency trumps everything. And we need to make sure that we can give the service. And especially in the courts, people are waiting to see what their lives are going to be the next day after they go to court. So it's very important. But I'll get off my soapbox. Commissioner Haddis, then Commissioner Baker McCormick, and if anybody else, let me know.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Two questions. One of them is the move to Monroe. How you plan to inform the public who really need that service to go to the right place instead of go.
Commissioner Haddis, I am so happy you asked that question. We have actually been working on, we've actually started, kind of got a little media team going within the office. And one of their responsibilities is actually notifying the public. We'll have a newsletter going out. And I will tell you, I looked at Commissioner Baker McCormick's newsletter, and we'll be sending that newsletter out. We have a huge database, probably 150,000 names. We'll send that out.
Oh, they was going in the commissioners meeting about the court.
And so we'll also be notifying each of the commissioners. So hopefully you will put that in your newsletters as well. We'll send it out on the e-news, and we'll just use every type of flyers. We'll put it in our offices. So we'll try everything possible to get it out. We'll even do a news release as well.
In their preparation to change all the form and the paper that have the old address, when you provide it to the people to fill it up, they could see which address.
To the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's just Commissioner Haddis.
Could you speak into your mic, please, Commissioner? Speak into the mic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know you have the form and stuff people apply have the old address on it. Are you going to eliminate those and print a new form for the people to see.
Exactly. That is, we're putting up, we have, when they walk into the office, the flyers there, we're put on the website as well. We will be changing our letterhead, of course, all our forms. The issue here is that we were not for sure until just recently. It was just approved within a matter of weeks, so we couldn't do anything before that. And now we're at the end of the year. It's kind of hard. I think they shut down global office supplies, so we can't really order new supplies until October 1st. But we will have a couple months before we actually move in. I think the move in probably won't happen until the first of the year. So we will have time to move, to change new letterheads as well as stationery to allow. But we will try to get the word out so we won't have individuals coming there and then tell them to go over to.
Last question is, all the vacancy you have, the vacancy, but you already have the cost in the budget. It's
Yes.
included in your
Yes, yes,
budget. Yes,
yes.
included in the budget and the normal salary the Wayne County offer. Maybe we should look into enhance that salary to have more people interested to come and fill those jobs. Because if the level of the salary we given and the people find out we're paying the lowest in the private industry and other government agency paying more. So maybe that's why we're not getting too many people applying. Maybe we should look into that.
There's a discussion going on, and I won't say who, but there's a discussion going on that perhaps we can look at all of these vacancies that are funded vacancies and look to see how many current employees are doing the work and how many employees could be positions could be perhaps eliminated and using those monies to pay higher wages to the people who are actually doing the work and also to hire new. And what I would call that is right sizing Wayne County government after the pandemic as to how we can best serve everyone at a higher wage, but perhaps less employees. And actually those who work from home too might be able to make a little bit less than the ones who have to pay for parking and things like that. So all of this is going to be looked at starting in October, which is just a week or so away. So those discussions are currently going on several levels. And we discussed this a little bit during our budget process. And so I see this more of a model going forward than most would imagine, that we have to right size government with the right amount of people with the right amount of wages.
I agree with you, Madam the Chair. We always need to look into the size of the government, but we have to keep in mind Wayne County, it's the largest county in the state, the most populated county in the state, and the request for services from the county government, it's a huge. So we need to balance that, because compare us to some other county who downsize because if they didn't have the load of work we have. So we don't want to lose employee who working for us with experience because we're going to hire the new one on a higher level and we keep them on the same level. So we need a thorough discussion, and we need to bring everybody up to fair wages to make sure we could keep what we have and hire more.
And that's why we call it retention and new hires. So it is, they both go together. And of course, always service is number one concern, that we are able to give the service that people deserve out of their tax dollars. So that is very much service is on top of the priority, and making sure that we have the correct amount of people giving the services and getting paid, retention, and also to hire new as well. It's going to be tricky, but I believe I have hope that I think we're smart here at Wayne County, and we're going to be able to figure this out. It's a national issue. It's not just Wayne County, but I think we're smarter than anybody else. So I think we'll figure it out.
Thank you.
I just have a lot of hope for Wayne County. Anyone else? Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think a lot of what I was going to say has already been said, but as to your communication to the public as far as your move, are you going to share like a one-page flyer that we can then disseminate like on Facebook and in our newsletter? If you can do that.
Well, I will bring that back to the clerk. I'm sure she'll be happy to pass that along to anyone. We would appreciate any help that we can get to pass this news forward. So we'll send you a one page over.
And I can make sure I share it as well. The other thing is the furniture. I recall we do have furniture that is available in storage, and I'm not sure how much of that you have looked at to see if it's viable, you know, for where you are now.
Commissioner Baker McCormick, yes, we have actually, I think probably anyone who's purchased furniture, the first thing they do is have you go down to this garage area to take a look at this furniture. Remember, the furniture there is usually it's broken and it's old. But we have been able to pull some things out of there and use throughout the year. And we will definitely go over and take a look again. I think that's a must. Before they will, procurement will approve anything, you have to go over and take a look and see if there's anything that will work. So we definitely will be taking a look at that too. And of course, we know we're all, cashless, we want to be concerned about. So we can use, if we can get a table over there, we'll be more happy to use that table.
Okay. All right. So the other question I had, at the new location, parking is that any better or what, do you know?
No, in fact, we're even kind of shocked. Parking is, we're always limited downtown for parking. That's over
Right.
400 Monroe. So, we looked at trying to maybe, trying to get a rate, maybe a group rate somehow. I know the county already has that. We're trying to do something to try to help out. But I think the biggest shock was the new CJC building.
Mhm.
I understand there is no parking there. And I was shocked that a whole building was being built and not parking space was built enough for employees to.
I think we are trying to look at accommodating parking. So I'm not sure.
No, that would be, we were just told.
That's the first I heard that there was none, because I know I asked about that parking. So I believe we will have parking. If I'm not correct, someone else can. Yes, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, so we will over at the. Okay.
Okay, all right, so I was in a meeting, it wasn't, so that's
Okay.
fine if it is, perfect. Thank you.
So to that point, the discussion now is if it's going to be free or discounted or, right? I think that's where we're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Discussion is that it's still in review as far
Yep.
as capacity and how many spaces.
Yep.
Per shift, et cetera, and free or not.
Yep.
It's still being. As far as
Because we're going to own that parking lot. We bought that for
Yeah, that'd be
$30 million.
Oh, perfect.
Since you brought up the CJC furniture, another area.
And then the last question, and I'm kind of new to this, the CBAs and how all of that works and the collective bargaining agreement. But is human resource is our human resource department working in any way with the CBAs to increase the rates or make changes so that it's a better fit for when we offer employment? And also for the CBAs, it seems that in their, again, I'm new to this, in their agreement with their members, that they should have some standard of where they want to be. Is that something that's provided to, I don't know, because it
Could I-
seems like that would.
Could I answer that?
Sure.
Mr. Seals probably wouldn't be aware of what's going on with that. There's discussions going on with everyone concerned right now from the executive's office, if I'm correct. You can go on record and say what I'm saying if you agree. Everyone is included in the discussions who need to be. And then this subcommittee will be forming in October to bring out more of the groundwork that's been kind of laid to bring it forward as to some of the possibilities that we're going to have to go out in public and discuss.
Through the chair, Eddie Fakori with the administration. Commissioner McCormick, to your question, Central HR does work with labor relations at all levels of the CBAs to ensure that we're right sizing and adjusting the salaries. That's going to be a process, like Commissioner Varga mentioned. That process has started. Our deputy CEO, Assad Turfi, that was appointed and recognized here, made it very clear that's a priority for him as well, ensuring our staff is happy, is properly have the proper salaries. So for that work to really be completed, it's going to be a while. And through Chairwoman Bell and through many of the commissioners, that conversation started. There will be, I'll call it a task force, starting in October, looking at all that across the county, not just the clerks, but across the county. As also through the budget process, that was a priority from Huey and his team, that is on their radar. Once the administration goes through that process, they're well aware of it as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this particular item now, item 12, moving the clerk over, and naturally, of course, they're going to have furniture. That goes without saying. So we're going to have to find a way to resolve that. And the solution is coming. Anyone else? Any other committee members? Okay. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 13, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-291, reallocating expenditures in the delinquent tax revolving 2022.
Thank you. Any comments or discussion on this item? Next item, please.
We are now moving to the addenda for item number 14. 14, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-177, certifying revenue in the general fund.
Thank you. Any discussion on 14? Next item.
Item 15, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-179, decertifying revenue in the environment fund and reallocating expenditures in the water quality management fund.
Comments? Questions? Next item, please.
Item 16, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-216, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Discussion? Next item.
Item 17, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-271, reallocating expenditures in the probate court fund.
Any discussion on item 17? Calling Commissioner Baydoun. for the motion?
Still got up to
Pardon
20.
me?
The three.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Item 18, please.
Item 18, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-281, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Any discussion on this? Next item, please.
Item 19, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35-276, certifying revenue in the general fund.
Any discussion on item 19? Next item, please.
Item 20, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2022-35304, reallocating expenditures in the general fund.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Baidoon.
I will make a motion to move items 1 through 20 to the full board for consideration.
Thank you. It's been moved and supported. It helps when the chair puts her glasses on so she could see. Any discussion on any of the items 1 through 20? I hear none. Let's vote. Call the vote, please.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki, Commissioner Kinlock,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Baidoon,
Yes.
Chair Varga,
Yes.
motion carries.
Next item.
And returning to the agenda. For item F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I have none. Any of the committee members have any discussion items they'd like to bring up at this time? I see none. Next item.
Item G, public comments.
Anyone in the chambers wishing to comment? Anyone in the chambers wishing to comment? Anyone online wishing to comment? President Buffington?
Yes, thank you so much. I know you only allot a certain amount of time to speak on the county clerk issue. For number one, as a court clerk that hasn't been recognized as a court clerk since I've been elected since 2018, and I continue to work in a courtroom during my tenure of negotiating multiple contracts for 30 authorities that have been severed by Wayne County and changing them from regular Wayne County jobs to regular jobs. I need to speak on all issues. First of all, we are not negotiating in good faith. The last contract that was negotiated, and I did not sign as the president, is only for the local 101 for roads, for the issues that you all had initially ran into. Your new director, Ms. Wilson, I have not spoken to her over human resources. I'm not communicating with her as I did the former individual that was placed in that position. Mr. Seals knows nothing about what the union does in regards to jobs. He is over the budget for the county clerk's office, and that's it. He has no idea as to what he's speaking of. We are not in the way. It's labor and Wayne County negotiating between the courts when it comes to certain positions with the court clerks. And that's not the power that the county clerk has or the Wayne County has. It's an agreement that has to come between the chief judge, the county, and the county clerk for us to come to initial decisions on these jobs. So we need to have the record corrected on that portion. He has no idea as to what he's speaking of. And in regards to the salaries, you had a lot of employees. I've been coming to you guys since before I got elected in 2018. I've been coming in 2016, 2017, 2018, telling you we haven't had money for 13 years in Wayne County. We have finally come to a fruition, but the people aren't willing to be here. As our illustrious Commissioner Clark indicated, there's no wages to offset the medical, and the last wages negotiated did not affect my clerical services throughout 1659. It's not an issue for everywhere. It's an issue here because we're still paid less than anybody else. And we're being berated in our medical worse than anyone else. And this record needs to reflect that now. Thank you very much, Chair Varga.
Thank you. Let the record show. Anyone else wishing to speak under public comments? On the phone or on Zoom? Madam Clerk, did we get any emails?
No emails were received.
Thank you. Again, anyone in the public wishing to comment in any form? I hear none. Next item.
Item H, adjournment.
Moved.